Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Tuesday night here on our YouTube channel with our B'nai Baruch, Authentic, the Wisdom of Kabbalah teachings as every Tuesday. If you're new to the channel, you can always go to Kabbalah.info and check out the Wisdom of Kabbalah. And if you're interested, you can always join the KABU Academy and join a group or anyone around your country and learn this beautiful wisdom. Also, if you don't want to join anything and you just want to check it out, on this channel, you'll find an introductory course, semester 1, 2, 3, young group, the full Monty, right? So whatever you like. And if you like to listen to us as well, you can also continue listening. In the meantime, we're going to continue with our topic, reinforcing ourselves with there is none else besides him. And I'd like to inform you that next week we'll go on to another topic. All right, so we're going to exhaust this one tonight. If you have any questions, shoot them through and we'll try to find answers from these excerpts. As you know, the principle of there's none else besides him is very important in the wisdom of Kabbalah because it allows me to align myself. It gives me a direction of attitude, how I should work with reality, because we understand that reality is beyond our control. I don't know what's going to happen with my life today, tomorrow, the next second even. So by focusing everything that's coming to me and that's happening in my life from one force called the Creator, I can actually begin to work on this dialogue, and I can actually build this dialogue with the Creator because I can start to look into the cause and consequence of everything that's happening to me. So this concept is very, very important, the concept of there's none else besides him. So we're going to continue from excerpt number 9. What, you got no sound? There's no sound?
Muffled in low. Now it's back.
It's muffled, or is it the dog barking outside?
No.
It's not the dog barking outside. No. Okay, because he is barking. He's growling for some reason. I don't know why. What's wrong with it? Okay, bear with me. Let's just do something. Okay. Is it better? Okay, so a little technical glitch there. So we'll carry on with Rabash, article number 19, excerpt number 9. Why is the Torah called the middle line in the work? Number 2, this is the second article with the same name. One must believe that he did this because the Creator commanded him to observe the mitzvah or the commandment. And he had to obey what the Creator commanded him to do. However, the Creator hid himself in a clothing of lolishma, such as the friends, so that through this clothing, he would think that he must obey the voice of lolishma. But in truth, one must believe that it was all the Creator's doing. Thus, after he performs the commandment, he should say that it was the Creator who acted behind the clothing of lolishma. It follows that then one should thank the Creator for giving him the desire to observe his commandments through this clothing. All right, it looks and sounds a little tricky. All right, so let's read it again. One must believe that he did this because the Creator commanded him to observe the commandment, and he had to obey what the Creator commanded him to do. Now, we understand from nature that everything that we're doing is through our inner traits and our nature, right? We're a desire to receive pleasure, and we wouldn't do anything if we felt no benefit from it. So that's our software. So when the Kabbalists say, listen, we're all doing what the Creator wants us to do, it's a simple explanation because this is our nature and we can't get out of that nature. So everybody actually in the world is doing exactly and precisely what the Creator wants them to do because of our nature being a desire to receive pleasure for ourselves. And it's software. It's like a hardware and software, right? So the hardware is the desire to receive pleasure, and the software, the way it runs, is us trying to fulfill it in an egoistic way. So if I keep doing everything in this way, including my spiritual work, right, everything is going according to the Creator's plan. However, we don't see it that way, do we? However, the Creator hid himself in a clothing of lolishma, such as the friends, So that through this clothing, he would think that he must obey the voice of Lolishma. We don't actually see the creator, nor do we actually see our nature governing us all the time. Right? For us to see that, we really need to be working on ourselves to observe everything that we're doing and thinking, oh my God, this is working on its own. Okay, so, and I'm like this guy on the outside observing how I'm functioning during the day. And in bafflement and amazing, I'm just watching the body do its thing. Okay, completely independent of what I think I should be doing. I can't even discern the difference. And if I don't study the wisdom of Kabbalah, I don't even feel like there is a difference. Everything I'm doing, I feel like I'm doing it. I'm thinking about it, wanting it, and doing what I want to do, right? And in fact, this is how people define freedom. What is freedom? It's the ability to do what I want to do. Right? And that's like a definition for it. So a regular person on the street cannot even discern the difference between the body and the other side of the person that can actually build an ability to observe the body, right? So I can actually look at myself from the outside. So we have to, in order for us to build that concept in us, where we can constantly observe the desire to receive pleasure for itself from a different and outside perspective, I have to keep working on this concept. So this is why they're saying, listen, whatever we're doing, whatever it is, it's the Creator's commandment. It doesn't matter what you're doing because you're going according to this plan. All right. And despite the fact that you don't see the Creator doing anything because he's not around, you don't feel him or perceive him, and you cannot discern yourself and the desire to receive as two separate entities. In other words, your dot in the heart and the desire to receive as two different things. You're just like, you know, hey, it's me. I'm living my life, doing what I think I should be doing. All right. But in truth, one must believe that it was all the Creator's doing. Okay. So the Kabbalists say, listen, despite the fact that you don't see the truth is that you're doing exactly what you've been told, okay, by this software. So this is why you have to start looking at it from another perspective. So when they say, I must believe, obviously I can't blindly believe that. Otherwise that would be like a religious person, you know, just believing what they've been told. One must believe means that one must come to a point that he sees that that is how it is. And that's how you, and then you can say, oh, okay, I do believe that's how it is, right? So we have to get to a state where I can observe my will to receive for itself from an outside perspective and actually, you know, live the experience that this thing has a mind of its own, okay? And it's really disconnected from me. Thus, after he performs the mitzvah, so whatever I'm doing, after I do something, I should say that it was the Creator who acted behind the clothing of Lolishma. So everything behind what's going on is the Creator doing things, even the things that I'm doing. Why? Because, well, he created us. He created us in a certain nature, which is just functioning. And if you think about it, most of the time during the day, we don't even think about what we're doing. We're just like a machine, you know? It's like a machine going to have lunch. I don't know, we go for a walk, we go to work, we do all kinds of things in life. It's like a machine. Nobody's like putting a lot of thought behind it. In fact, it's like the less thought, the happier we are, and don't have to think about anything. So we actually enjoy being like a machine, especially if it's like relaxed and everything is going smooth. So after one performs anything called a commandment, he should say it was the Creator who acted behind the clothing of Lolishma. Lolishma being an action for myself. It follows that one should thank the Creator for giving him the desire to observe this commandment through this clothing. Well, why should I be thankful if the Creator is making me do things, you know, for myself in Lolishma? Why should I be thankful for that? Well, because I'm now in a position to observe the situation. All right, so the Creator is actually giving me the perspective to see things from a truthful perspective. That whatever I do, I'm doing it in a state of Lolishma. I'm actually being made to do it. But this, how should I phrase it? this experience of seeing that I'm doing it through my nature, which is working automatically, is already a great thing. Okay, that observation is already a great thing, because now I begin to understand how my nature works by looking at it from a different perspective. All right, so that's really important too. Important to get around in our head. This is why this principle is really important. And it's not as easy as said, you know, oh, there's none else besides him and he does everything and he's so great. Okay, it's not like that, you know, just like in a sentence. It's really the ability to kind of look at how the whole of creation is created, how you're created, and how this whole system is running. And the only time you can really appreciate it is when you're kind of out of the picture, watching it like a movie. Okay, that's the time when you appreciate it, and then you begin to understand what this whole thing is trying to, you know, trying to pass on to you, or trying to give you. And then you can appreciate the fact that there's none else besides him. Number 10. Ba'al Salam Shamati article number 1, there's none else besides him. One must always try and adhere to the Creator, namely that all his thoughts will be about him. That is to say, even if he is in the worst state from which there cannot be a greater decline, he should not leave his domain. Namely, that there is another authority that prevents him from entering holiness, that can bring benefit or harm. That is, he must not think that there is a force of the Sitra Ahra, the other side, that's the evil side, that does not let a person do good deeds and walk in the ways of the Creator. Rather, all is done by the Creator. All right. Can you hear the dogs barking or not? Yeah? No? A little bit? He's driving me nuts. That's better. All right. Not mine, by the way. Not mine. Okay, not mine. Okay. Right, yeah. Ba'al Islam Shamati, article number 1. Let's read. One must always try and adhere to the Creator, namely that all his thoughts will be about him. So every time I go through any state, I need to relate it to the Creator. And that's really difficult because during the day, you're like in this rush, right? You got work, family, kids, all kinds of stuff. You're in traffic. I don't know what you're chasing in life. So it's very important for the person to constantly kind of live something and always relate it to the Creator. But we need to try our best. So that is to say, even if he's in the worst state from which there cannot be greater decline, he should not leave his domain. So no matter what happens in life, one should not forget, one should always remember that everything that's coming to him, even his worst moments in life, are only from the Creator. Everything is coming from the Creator. Namely, that there is no other authority that prevents him from entering holiness. So nobody in reality, nobody else, no Tom, Dick, or Harriet, or whatever, is doing anything to any of us. Everything that happens to a person is done by the acts of the Creator, even though in our eyes it may seem like, I don't know, it may seem like Putin is starting a war, or it might seem like my neighbor is driving me crazy, but it's not the case. Okay, behind everything that happens in reality, there's a force called the Creator. Okay, so nothing can bring benefit or harm. Only the Creator is working on us. That is, he must not think that there is a force of the other side, the evil side, that does not let a person do good deeds and walk in the ways of the Creator. Rather, all is done by the Creator. So even if I'm going through a rough time and I completely forget the Creator, okay, I should be constantly walking with the Creator, which means that I should, in my thoughts and in my approach, how I relate to life, I should always be with the Creator, that there's none else besides him and everything is coming from him. And this allows me to constantly be in connection with the Creator. Because where am I going to be really in connection with the Creator, right? In thought, in desire, in intention. It's all going to be internal. So if I actually relate to everything that's happening to me as there's none else besides him, it's like I'm never losing contact with him. So if what the Kabbalists say is true, that behind everything there is the Creator, sooner or later, this world called the language of the Creator should begin to make sense to me. Okay, it's like babies. When we talk to them, they don't understand what we're talking about. Okay, but we still talk to them, don't we? But they have no idea. They're looking at us thinking, hey, what are you saying? All right. We have the same problem. We don't understand what the Creator wants from him. But if we constantly forget about the Creator, okay, and not take notice of what he's saying, it's like, God forbid, a child who has an hearing problem, right? So the parent is doing something, but, the kid just doesn't hear. So, he's in a dilemma. So he understands there's something wrong. So same with us. If I'm constantly trying to relate everything to the Creator, it's like he's talking to me and I'm like interested in what he wants to say. I'm interested in how he wants to relate to me. I'm interested in understanding what he wants from me. Okay, and that's the thing that's bringing us closer. And this is how kids are growing up, right? How are we building communication with the kids? We're always talking to them, despite the fact that they're a baby and they don't understand anything, but we still talk to them because we talk and we talk and we talk and we talk, and they listen and listen and listen and listen. All of a sudden they say yes. Okay, so then we go, okay, we got a relationship happening here. Okay, or it says mama. Okay, great, it's a start. Right? So you build something, and the same thing with the Creator. It's no different. Okay. This is why they're so, they're so focused on this principle. There's none else besides him, because it's like this kid trying to build a relationship. And if we constantly miss out on the things that's happening to us, and we're not really focusing on relating everything to the Creator, then we don't have the ability to get close to him. We don't have the ability to approach to what he, understanding what he wants from us. This is why this principle is really important. Okay, so let's read a bit of Zohar. Okay, this is Zohar for all, Introduction to the Book of Zohar, 2 points, item 121. All the many contradictions to his uniqueness which we taste in this world separate us from the Creator. Yet, when exerting to keep the Torah and the commandments with love, with our soul and might, as we're commanded, to bestow contentment upon our Maker, all these forces of separation do not affect us into subtracting any of the love of the Creator with all our souls and might. Rather, in that state, every contradiction we have overcome becomes a gate for attainment of his wisdom. This is so because there's a special quality in each contradiction, revealing a special degree in attaining him. And those worthy ones who have been rewarded with it turn darkness into light and bitter into sweet. For all the powers of separation from the darkness of the mind and the bitterness of the body have become to them gates for obtainment of sublime degrees. Thus, the darkness becomes a great light, and the bitter becomes sweet. Hence, to the extent that they previously had all the conducts of his guidance towards the forces of separation, now they have all been inverted into forces of unification and sentenced the entire world to the side of merit. Okay, let's go again one by one. All the many contradictions to his uniqueness which we taste in this world separate us from the Creator. Right, contradiction to his uniqueness is everything that's opposite to bestowal, right? How is the Creator described to us by Kabbalists? As the attribute of love and the attribute of love's act is bestowal. So love and bestowal is the creator. So what's contradictory to that? We're contradictory, okay? Because our nature is to receive for ourselves. So we want to receive. And if I want to receive, what nature is that? Well, that's self-love. Okay, so the love of others is the creator, and the act is bestowal. What's contradicting to that is self-love, and I want to get everything for myself. Okay, and that's contradictory. So everything in life starts to become a contradiction when you start studying the wisdom of Kabbalah, because you got to do the opposite of what you kind of like instinctively created. You know, you got to go with just against your nature all the time. Okay, so instinctively it's like difficult, and that's creating separation from the creator. So our nature and the creator are completely opposite, and this oppositeness is the separation. Yet when exerting to keep Torah and mitzvot, so if I want to study the wisdom of Kabbalah, that's what Torah and mitzvot is, right? What's our Torah? Our Torah is the teaching, right? Torah comes from the word user manual and light. Okay, so if I use the Kabbalistic text correctly, I should get some light, and that's Torah, and Horah. Okay, enlightenment and the user manual, from those two words. Yet when exerting to keep the Torah and the commandments with love, with our soul and might, so if I want to do it in order to bestow, right? Because the soul means bestowal. So if with all my desire, with all my heart and soul and might, I want to do it in order to bestow, as we're commanded, to bestow contentment upon our Maker, which means that I should be aiming to bestow exactly how the Creator is bestowing, then all those forces of separation do not affect us into subtracting any of the love of the Creator with all our souls and might. Okay, so all I have to do is give it my best shot. Okay, because obviously the Creator understands we're opposite to him. So he understands we're not going to make it. Okay, and if we understand that as well, that's fine. It's not a problem, right? Say, listen, you made me of self-love. What do you want from me? Okay, so he says, I don't want anything from you. I want you to give it your best shot. Now, if you give it your best shot, it's like you're bestowing, right? Because at the end of the day, what can the kid do, right? The kid's limited. He can't do the things that grown-ups can do. But you see, children are always running around trying to discover life, want to grow up, want to taste everything, smell everything, play around with everything, break everything, and check what's inside. All right? So this is how they grow up. And that's instinctively how it is. So the Creator wants us to do that as well, but not instinctively, obviously, right? With a conscious effort. And this is why it says, despite the separation, this contradiction between the Creator and me, despite the fact that our nature is completely opposite bestowal, if I try my best to do this work, with love and with all my heart and soul and whatever, okay, if I give it that shot, it's like I'm bestowing to the Creator, okay, because you're doing your best. And that's why they say, do your best, forget the rest. Okay, why? Because then he can worry about completing your work. Okay, and why does he need to complete your work? Well, that's how we build a connection with the Creator. Because I'm doing something, and like a kid, but the kid can't do it on his own. This is why they're always dragging us by the hand and say, do this for me, do that for me. Can you help me do this, right? They drag us along. So while we're doing the work, we're actually seeing that we can't finish the work because I can't change my own nature. But this work allows me to drag the Creator into the business. And that's how we begin to build a connection. I say, listen, we're studying. We're trying to understand what we need to become. And the more we study, we understand what we are. And from understanding of what we are, it's really not going to happen. Okay, this is not going to happen. We cannot turn ourselves into bestow where desire to receive pleasure. So we're going to need some help, and that's called a prayer. Now, prayer isn't what the guys do on, I don't know, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Okay, as you see with religions, that's just not how it is. The inability that I see in me to change myself, despite the fact that I'm working with all 12 cylinders, is what's making me turn to the Creator. Okay, because I'm working on it, and I just can't, I cannot do it. I cannot change my own nature. There's always going to be something that stops me, and that stoppage, that blockage or stoppage or whatever is preventing me, I should see, okay? I should see it clearly, and it should be like, hey, this is your egoistic nature, which is not allowing you to do something good for the other without self-benefit. Okay, and the more we work and the more we exert ourselves, we begin to discover all the more intricate details of our egoism. Because sometimes a person really feels like, well, you know what, I'm really bestowing, I'm doing everything I can, and it by the time you do all that, and then you begin to see that, no, that was also egoistic, and I had self-interest here and self-interest there and so on. All of those details come out later on. Okay, and those little details, it's like the membrane around every organ. It stops you from touching the others. It's like you can never, as an organ, make contact with another organ, because there's always that membrane, and it's like, it's transparent. You can't see it unless you, stick a knife in or something and, get the membrane off. So it's same with us. There's just like this protective cover that we can't even feel or see, that just doesn't allow us to have a human touch to somebody. It just doesn't make us do it. And these are all becoming sensitive stuff that we observe as we study more and more. And that's only going to happen when we're trying to build a connection. Now, building a connection with someone in terms of love and bestowal is no different than building it with the Creator. Why? Because at the end of the day, they're both outside of me. So whether it's a person, whether it's a Creator, it doesn't make a difference. Why? Because I'm the one who's supposed to go through that personal transformation. So what difference does it make if I've got the Creator in front of me or Father Christmas? Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, my relationship is changing. And what I'm seeing is that despite the fact that I'm trying to overcome all my egoistic natures that are like coming out, I begin to see that there comes a point with every action I do, there's that last point which says, it's for you still. It's still for your self-benefit. And that's that thin membrane we all have to come to get to. That little thing, and doesn't let us come in contact with the other person. Okay, so in the state of every contradiction we have overcome becomes a gate of attainment of his wisdom. Now, as we come to see all those points that stop me from connecting with others, that also gives us wisdom. Because at the end of the day, what is wisdom? Wisdom is knowing the truth, seeing the truth. And that's what's making us wise. This is so because there's a special quality in each contradiction, revealing a special degree in attaining him. Now, if every time I'm trying to come to that last point of connection and I see that I'm unable to do it, then I'm revealing a special degree in attaining him. Why? Well, reality is two opposites all the time. I cannot attain the creator if I don't have an opposite state, right? So every opposite, every contradiction I reveal, see, understand, allows me to envision how its opposite could be or should be, okay? So this is why always perception of reality is from two opposite equal ends. If I don't have two opposite ends, I can't perceive reality. And those worthy ones who have been rewarded with it turn darkness into light and bitter into sweet, for all the powers of separation from the darkness of the mind and the bitterness of the body have become to them gates for obtaining of sublime degrees. So the more I begin to reveal these things, the more I can turn to the Creator. Now, this turning to the Creator is what's building that connection with the Creator. Why? It's like that kid constantly trying to talk back to the Creator. So the Creator is doing something, and our way of trying to understand Him, to connect with Him, is doing something, right? It's like when babies are like, what do babies do? They don't do much except throw their hands and legs around, don't they? Okay, and they cry. Okay, so they're crying all the time. So you got to check them out. Does he or she have a fever? Okay, is he or she hungry? Does she want to burp? You know, you got to check it out. So the Creator is always, you know, doing us the same kind of thing. He's like relating to us. He's feeding us, you know, burping us, whatever. He's doing all these things. So I, through his actions on me, have to kind of like figure out how to relate to him. And the only things I can really do are just two things, well, three things. I can cry, I can smile, I can throw my hands and legs about, okay? But this is how you begin to understand you got legs and hands. This is how you begin to understand that, well, I've got legs and hands, I can do something with these. Okay, and this is how you begin to build your soul the same way. So we're building a body from babyhood, from childhood, to being a grown-up. So now, by relating to the Creator with everything and trying to figure out how to do things, I'm actually building a spiritual body, an inner relationship with the Creator. Okay, so all these opposite states that we go through, and they seem to us like, oh my God, heavy burdens, like heaviness. We don't want to work. We don't want to do anything really. And everything's, you know, becomes sometimes really heavy on a person, you know. Spirituality can sometimes just be really, I don't know how to say it, can really squeeze a person, life, you know, work, family, health, you know, everything is squeezing. And on the other hand, you're trying to get spiritual as well. You just don't understand why everything is just squeezing you when you're trying to do the right thing. Okay. So we don't understand. We're trying to do the right thing. And then we're like, what do you want? You know, and this is exactly the time when we need to build that relationship, because only during these times I have the urgency to relate everything to the Creator and kind of think to myself, okay, what do I need to do? I'm feeling pressure. This is like the Creator calling me. Okay, it's like the Creator calling me. So now I have to say, through this pressure, what do I have to do? What do I have to add? What do I need to subtract? What should I, you know, what should I do now? And this thinking process of what the Creator is doing, there's none else besides him. He's doing everything. And me trying to relate back to how I should align myself properly towards him, this thinking process starts to bring the solution. This is why it says we should never be separated from him, because I'm constantly trying to think about why he did something and what should I be doing? How should I be talking to the Creator? What should my dialogue with the Creator be like? Okay, I'm doing this, this. And where am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Am I doing anything wrong at all? If there's none else besides him, have I done anything wrong? You know, so a lot of things come to a person and we begin to think about a lot of things. So this thinking process allows us to come to discernments of what I did and through everything I did, where I am now, and now from this point, how I should move forward. Okay, so it allows me to work on this process I'm going through. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so I'm not just blindly, reading and studying and doing stuff, but I'm reading the text and I want to live what they're saying. So for me to live what they're saying, I have to kind of go through this process. How can I go through this process? By working myself in this condition, in these terms called love and bestowal towards others. So I have to be active in that, right? Stick my head in there. And then I got to see that, what's happening is not love of others, but my self-love. Well, self-love is the same thing as hating others. Okay, so all of a sudden I begin to think about, well, now we can see some contradictions. Okay, and then we can work on these things. So that's not because we should feel bad. Most of the times we feel bad when we see these negative situations, right? But that bad trait we discovered inside of ourselves now turns into light because I hadn't seen it before. And because I didn't see it before, I had no idea I was a bad guy. I always thought I was a good guy. I was one of the good guys. Okay. But it turns out I wasn't. So there's your wisdom. Now I can relate to the Creator's actions on me for revealing that situation. Now I've got to throw the ball back. So what am I going to do about it? Okay. If I see traits in me, habits in me, behaviors in me that cause harm, me seeing it and me seeing it causing harm can give me the strength to say, well, I'm not going to do that anymore. So that's already a wisdom, right? So, well, what's happening? Well, the light of the study is affecting us, isn't it? Everybody's asking about how we're going to make a restriction. How we're going to make a restriction. Well, you can't make a restriction until you see what you need to restrict. So by studying and applying it in the group, I'm beginning to discover what's bad. And that bad doesn't really necessarily have to be revealed in corporeality. I could be having a bad thought about a person, a bad intention about a person. I don't have to do something bad to a person. I could want to do something bad or think bad, all right? So those things are already coming up in me. Now, the beauty of the thing is this. In corporeality, for a person to see the evil, he does the evil, okay? Then he gets put in jail, okay? Spirituality is a different ball game. Because you're working on revealing what you need to change, it doesn't have to manifest in corporeality. It needs to manifest in me. If I'm working correctly, everything should be revealed in me and shouldn't be reflected to the outside at all. On the outside, I should be a happy, chappy guy. In the group, like Rabbi says, hey, bring a good spirit to the group all the time. So they're looking at me thinking, wow, this guy's like a, I don't know, 24/7 Seinfeld comedian. He's like having a great ball. But inside, it's like the guy's having volcanoes because he's constantly revealing this and that. And he's got a smile on his face and he's thinking, okay, so it's like that. But that's called inner work, okay? And that's the beauty about it, because it doesn't have to manifest in corporeality, and I can discern everything within me, and then I can decide to say, you know what, I don't want to think like that, I don't want to intend like that, I don't want to do anything like that. I understand it's in me, I've got a character to do it. Okay, I've got the bad character to do such a thing, but now that I've seen it, I just want to put it aside and I don't want to touch it. So that's increasing consciousness. And as I'm studying more and more, well, what am I doing? I'm revealing it, understanding it's bad, so I'm choosing not to use it. That's called restriction. All right, it's called restriction. So I see that something can do harm to a person, so I don't do it. And all of a sudden, as we advance in spirituality, what happens to us? we become all quiet. So we're like a kitten who spilled its milk. It's like just all quiet. None of this jumping around. We become, it's like a mature person. We become mature. We begin to understand that the quality of the work is inside. All right. And this is how we should kind of like relate to the work, the darkness and the light. So there is no darkness really. Okay. If you think about it, there isn't. There is the possibility of you turning into a spiritual leverage. And what else? Thus the darkness becomes a great light and the bitter becomes sweet. Hence, why is it sweet now? Because I've got understanding. I've got cause and consequence. I feel I'm empowered. And because I'm praying as well, these things are coming up. I'm praying, the Creator is with me, and there's none else besides him. And I'm moving with him all the time. Then I've got the power not to do things. I've got the power to take a step back. I don't instinctively behave, but I always kind of have this pullback mechanism, right? Rather than instinctively doing something, an action, inside I've got this pullback, this scrutiny time, this thought process time, think time, and how I should throw the ball back time in me. And that's what separates us from the instinctive, the unconscious, the animate level of existence with the spiritual. Okay, and this is how we unite everything from separation into a force of unification. And this sentences the entire world to the side of merit. Okay, because even though I may not be bestowing, I'm not bestowing when I'm doing this, right? I'm kind of like seeing the evil, understanding it, and choosing not to use it. So putting it aside, okay? That's also raising the world to a level of merit. Why? Because I've stopped causing harm. And you can even do this, practice this, even without having the sensation of the Creator. Okay? What, 10 questions? No way. Yes way. Okay. It's okay is asking question from a friend. If we're controlled by the Creator, where is free will in our actions in the 10? That's a nice question. In order for me to first say there is none else besides him, I have to witness my nature's automatic play mode. If I don't, a person always says, I'm doing stuff. Okay, this is how it works. So I need to enter myself into the study and into the practical application in the 10. So I can actually see that my character has a mind of its own. It's got a software of its own, and it's just running around on its own software. And there's nothing I can do about it except look at it in amazement. Then I can say there's none else besides him. Where's my free will then? Then I can say to myself, well, look, if I'm a desire to receive pleasure, what do I want to get pleasure from? Then I can choose the environment that's going to give me that pleasure, either from bestowal or I'm going to chase corporeal stuff. At the end of the day, we are a desire to receive pleasure. That's not going to change. We all understand that, right? Okay. We're always going to be a desire to receive pleasure. The question is, what am I getting pleasure from? From this mutual love between me and the Creator, or running around after corporeal stuff trying to fulfill myself? Okay. So I've got two options. The guy on the street doesn't have two options. He's got one option. He just has to fulfill his desire to receive for himself. Why? Because there is no contra. There is no Creator. There is no love and bestowal that he's aiming for. So the more I aim for love and bestowal within the friends, I can discern what I want to go for, That's your freedom of choice. This is why I need two opposite ends. Okay, I hope that makes sense. How do we bring a spirit of joy above moods? Well, bringing joy to the group is also bestowal, isn't it? A lot of the times we're all complaining about life. Oh, life sucks. Okay. Okay, so everybody's in that mood. Okay, so what can I do? Bring the guys a happy mood. It's bestowal, really. If I bring happiness to the group, it's bestowal. It's a good mood. Everybody's feeling happy, and and we've got a great goal, and we can attain this great goal, by being good friends. I mean, in the outside world, think about it. We've got no good friends. We've got no friends. How can we have any friends if we're all egoistic, right? It's just not possible, right? So the only place you can really have mates is those who understand human nature and that it's bad, and they want to do something about it. So, I don't know. I always enjoy being with the 10, okay, because the goal is important. The goal, not that I want to connect with anyone. Who wants to connect with anyone? Okay, right? But the goal is important. The creator is important. And we've got a shot in this reincarnation. We have an opportunity. Right? We have an opportunity. So that's like really valuable. And you don't want to be missing that. Okay. So I think to myself, and everyone should think to themselves about why I'm living. I've got a few days left here, and then it's game over. What am I going to leave with? And if you think about it, our life is like it's like a video game. Here you are jumping up and down all over the place, trying to get something done, just like this little character in a video game. Like when I was a kid, they had this Mario Brothers. He was hopping, jumping up and down, trying to get gold coins everywhere. And that's like how we are. Jumping up and down, trying to get a few coins here, trying to get a few coins there, fill the wallet, make a few points, and feel good. And that's it. So we have to think and scrutinize what our life is about. And then I think we can all bring some good mood into the group. When we meet, what should our interactions be like? Love of friends. When you guys meet, everyone should bring to the group the love of friends. Everyone should feel like, oh my God, my friends really love me. Okay? Sincerely. So if you hook up, if you meet up, I know you guys are in Florida there. It's like good beaches there, I heard. You can go have a little picnic. Everybody brings some to eat to the friends. Everybody's got your shamatis in your pocket. Sit down, read a little, talk a little, increase the importance of the goal, say a couple of laheims, and bring a good vibe to the group. Studying spirituality doesn't have to be dry. You can party with it all the time. Okay? It should be fun. We're all going to the creator. Rachel's asking, so then ask creator what I'm being shown by experiencing fear or empathy. I can ask the creator about anything and everything. As long as I want to advance towards the goal, any confusion, any darkness, anything I'm just like blurry about, I can ask the creator. You can. I do it all the time. It works. Okay? All of a sudden, he doesn't come to you with replies the next day, but sometimes a friend says something and then it clicks. Or you enter the lesson, you read something, it clicks. The Rav says something and then it clicks. I was like, that's what I was looking for. Why? Because it's the environment. You will always get an answer if you're studying all the time with us, like in this routine, always. There is no time. I've been studying for more than 20 years. And every time you have a doubt, question, you can find answers in the text, in the lesson, even if you're just thinking about it, like in your mind, scrutinizing it. Why is it like that? What should I do? How should I do? Let me read something. What did Rabash say? What did Baal HaSulam say? Something, and then it just clicks. It just comes together. Marlon's asking, outside of the 10, do I still relate all situations, people to the creator? Yeah, everything to the creator. We can relate everything to the creator, but the spiritual work is always in the 10, right? In the group. Or my will to receive. we're always in a will to receive. Okay, so that's always going to be the will to receive. The question is how I want to use my will to receive. That is called the intention, which we should be working on changing. So wouldn't we be on a fast track to sell all our belongings and give it all away, everything we get in life, give it away and refuse anything and everything? No, certainly not. And the reason is, then you wouldn't have internet. How are you going to watch the lesson? How are you going to download the lessons? How are you going to read the articles on the internet? Don't sell anything. We're required to have a normal life. Spirituality doesn't mean get rid of everything. Spirituality means, on top of what your regular life is, build something higher, greater. Okay? So we don't have to go and live on a mountaintop or in a monastery or whatever and shut ourselves away. You can't live like that. It's not the right way to advance in spirituality anyway. Why? Because spirituality means I'm connecting with others. And after we, elevate ourselves in spirituality, we will want to connect with everybody in the world. So the group right now is like a kindergarten. So in there, we're growing up. But once we get out of school, once we attain spirituality and start ascending, I'll want to be integrated with everyone because everyone's part of the connection. Okay, so don't run away anywhere. Rachel's asking, so in prayer, wait a minute. So in prayer, we're giving and receiving simultaneously. Well, we're always receiving. Even when we're praying. Why? Because we want a situation to change, right? So I'm always asking the Creator. I'm always asking for something. But what do we like? We like kids who want the right thing. So same with the Creator. So if we go to the Creator and ask for the correct things, and not, useless stuff, then that's already bestowed to the Creator as well. Why? Because it's like being a parent saying, wow, this kid's like growing up. Finally, ask for something right. And then the Creator is happy to oblige. No problemo, Jose. Okay, that's how it is. Okay. Isoke is asking, per excerpt 11, how can we implement a conscious building of this connection in the 10? I've got to work on the love of friends. It's okay. There's no other way. If I don't work on the love of friends, I can't see what's stopping me from loving the friends. Then I've got no work to do at all. Okay, so that's just how it is. Is there a point where there's a distinction between passively connecting versus conscious collective action? I don't know what you mean by that. But from my perspective, I should always be active, like actively seeking and working. Isoke is asking again, question from a friend. When a friend is in that squeezed state, is feeling the heaviness and the sense, how should we help them? What should we pray? Well, first of all, we should be with the friend by his side, trying to help him overcome this physical situation. Also, we should pray for him. So in action and in prayer, we should be by his side. Okay. The only way he's going to get out of that situation is if he goes back to what is more important than corporeality. What is more important than corporeality? Spirituality. Why do I have problems in life? Because I think about myself. If I think about myself, I feel like I exist. If I exist, I'm going to have problems. Does that make sense? But if you're always doing something for others, it's like you don't exist. And if you don't exist, you don't get problems. It's logical and it works out. Only when you go back into yourself, life begins to push you and show you, says, oh, you're thinking about yourself again. Okay, so arrange for yourself a routine, okay, a good routine of study, application, and so on. Marlon's asking, so the evil inclination is revealed and we ask the Creator to fix it? Absolutely, because you should also discover that you cannot fix it. Okay, discovering the evil isn't the only thing you're discovering. You begin to discover the fact that you can't change it. And you know what? You come to a point where you say, I don't even want to change this. I actually quite like being a bad man. Okay. You don't want to change it. It's really difficult to ask the Creator sincerely to change who you are and what you are. It really is. So coming to a sincere request to the Creator to like change what you are and how He made you, it's like a challenge on its own. It really is. It takes a lot of, a lot of work. You have to burn a lot of calories for that. Rachel's asking how to turn this type of internal work into a prayer for many. Well, the more I work, the more frustrated I get. The more, it's not the, well, I don't want to call it frustrated or disappointment, but I begin to see the limits of what I can do. And what I really need to do, I see that I cannot do and I cannot touch it. So the Creator has to make a move. And He's only going to do that if you start crying like a baby. As they say in Turkish, no crying, no milk. Right? That's how it is. Patricia is asking, what work does a 10 do alone that they do not do with another 10 when having a get together? Well, look, if you're having a ball, like I don't know, like a congress or whatever, then it's good to mix with everyone. It really is good to mix with everyone. Other than that, though, the 10 is like your place where you focus, because you can keep your mind on several people, but you can't keep your mind on tens of people. Okay. So if you want to come to the love of friends, keeping focus on a few people and working with them directly is all good. And it's like a faster way of moving forward. Marlon's asking, so does my will to receive with corrected intention become the screen I can sense the Creator? The intention becomes the screen. Your will to receive, your desire stays the way it is. The only thing that changes is the intention. And that intention is your equivalence of form with the Creator. So you can actually say that's your soul as well. It's like a sensory organ. All right, are we all good? Are we all good? We're all good. All right, so we're going to love you and leave you. Got another thing happening in a few minutes, and then another thing happening after that. It's a full night tonight. Have a good night. See you guys Tuesday.